Hi. So in my previous video, we already have looked into OTA from driver's perspective. What the head unit shows, what works and what get blocked. But that is only half of the story. Behind the progress bar, something much more technical is happening. The ECU itself is being flashed. New firmware is being written into its memory. And if anything goes wrong during this process, like power cut or corrupted data or wrong software versions, you could end up with a completely non-functional ECU. So, how does the industry prevent that? How do you update an ECU over the air and guaranteed that the vehicle always remain operational no matter what goes wrong? That is what this video is all about. So, let's go and deep dive into that process. The OTA architecture, how OTA reaches the ECU. Before we run the simulator, let me explain the four components in every automotive OTA system. First, the backend server. This is where the manufacturer create the update campaign. They package the new firmware, sign it digitally and send it out to vehicle. Second, the TCU, telematic control unit. This is the cellular modem inside your car. It receives the updated package over 4G or Wi-Fi, just like your phone downloads an app update. Third, the OTA Master ECU. This is the coordinator inside the vehicle. It manages the update process, check preconditions, and distribute the package to the right ECU. Fourth one, the target ECU. This is the ECU actually being updated. Engine control module, body control module, ADAS ECU, whichever ECU the manufacturer wants to update. These four components communicate in a sequence: backend to TCU to OTA, master to target ECU, and every step has verification built in. Now, let's discuss how we safely deploy OTA on a running vehicle, that is A and B partitioning. This is the most important concept of automotive OTA, A-B partitioning. Look at this diagram. Two slots, A and B. Right now, slot A is active. The ECU is running in the current software from slot A. Slot B is empty and standby. When an OTA update begins, the new firmware is written into slot B. Slot A keep running and whole the time it is active. The vehicle stay fully functional during this entire process of flashing. When the flash completes successfully, the ECU switches from boot slot B. New software active, slot A becomes the standby. Now, here is the critical part. If anything goes wrong during the flashing process, the power cut, corrupt data, or any failure at all, the ECU simply boot from slot A. The previous version, zero risk of bricked ECU, zero risk of vehicle that will not start. This is the fundamental safety guaranteed of automotive OTA, and this is why over the air update are safe enough to deploy on the production vehicle. Okay, so now let me show you a happy path for successful OTA update. It has several stages. Stage 1, campaign creation. The backend server creates the update campaign. It packages the firmware, generate a CRC checksum, and sign it with the manufacturer's digital signature. Stage 2, vehicle notification. A push notification goes to the vehicle's TCU. The vehicle acknowledges it is parked, ignition is on, and it's ready to proceed. Stage 3, precondition check. This is critical. Before any data is transferred, the system checks: is battery is above the threshold? Is the vehicle stationary? Is the ignition on? Only when all the preconditions are passed, then only update proceeds. Watch the log. Battery is 75%, vehicle speed is 0, ignition on, all conditions are passed. Stage 4, package download. The firmware package the downloads from the server to the TCU. Watch slot B. It start filling up. Stage 5. Integrity verification. This is where the CRC checksum is verified and the digital signature is validated. The ECU will not accept any package that fails this check. This is the protection against corrupted or malicious firmware. Stage 6. ECU installation. Now look at the UDS service traces at the bottom. This is where the actual flashing happens. Service 10. Subfunction 02. Diagnostic session programming mode. The ECU switches from normal operation to programming mode. Service 27. Security access. A seed and key exchange. The ECU sends a random seed. The flash tool calculates the key using a secret algorithm. If the key is correct, the ECU unlocks and allows programming. Service 34. Request download. This is negotiation the block size and initiates the data transfer. You can see it's specifying the memory address and the block size. Service 36. Transfer data. This is where the firmware bytes are actually written. Thousands of 256 bytes block transfer sequentially, each one confirmed. Service 37. Request transfer exit. Transfer completes, all block received. Stage 7. Post upgrade validation. Service 31. Routine control check memory. The ECU verifies the complete written image CRC of the entire flashing region. Stage 8. Activation. Service 11. ECU reset. The ECU reboots and lock at slot B. It is active now. The vehicle is running new software. Slot A is written as rollback. Successful update. This is nominal flow that every OTA test campaign starts with. Now, after the happy path, let's see some of the fault scenarios. First one is power loss. Watch carefully. Everything proceeds normally through the download and verification. The flash starts. Slots B start filling up. At 58%, I eject a power loss. The ECU loses the power completely. Now what will happen? The bootloader detects an incomplete image in slot B. It validates slot A, the previous version, and find it intact. The ECU boots from slot A. The vehicle starts normally. The driver experiences nothing unusual. A diagnostic troubleshoot code is stored indicating the incomplete OTA update. The system schedules retry. This is A/B partitioning working exactly as designed. Power loss at any point during flashing, even at 99%, results in a clean rollback to the previous version. No bricked ECU. Now, let's jump into the corrupt package scenario failure. The downloads complete. The CRC check verification failed. The expected checksum does not match the actual checksum. Watch. The update abort immediately. The ECU never even enters in the programming mode. The corrupt package is being entirely rejected. Negative response code 72. Journal programming failure. Negative response code from the ECU. No changes were made. The vehicle remains on the previous version. Test case for this scenario. Eject a single bit flip in the firmware package. Expected result. CRC mismatch detected. Update rejected. No flash attempted. So the next one is low battery. Low battery scenario. Battery at 15%. Watch the precondition check stage. Battery check 15%. Below the threshold. Typically 20 to 25% is the minimum required for a safe flash. The update is stopped here before any data is transferred, before any programs begins. This is the precondition exists before a power failure during ECU flashing is the worst possible outcome. The system refuses to start if there is not enough battery to guarantee the completion. The update is rescheduled automatically. No user action is needed. Let's see failure due to wrong version. The firmware package is meant for different ECU variant. The system reads the current ECU part number using service 22 DID F187. It compares this against the package metadata. Mismatch detected. NRC 31. Request out of range. The ECU refuses the package. This prevents one of the most dangerous scenario in automotive OTA, flashing the wrong firmware onto the wrong ECU. An engine control module running body control firmware would be catastrophic. This check is mandatory. In our simulator, we have two different views, beginner as well as expert view. Beginner mode shows plain English level like campaign create, vehicle notify, safety check, writing to slot B. This is the level you need for general automotive interviews. In expert mode, we will be showing you the technical terminologies like campaign creation, precondition checks, UDS flash with 34, 36, 37. This is the level you need for technical role at tier 1 suppliers and OEMs. Know both the levels. The interviewer will start at beginner's level and go deeper. Be ready for that. Okay, so let's start with few of the interview questions and answers. Let me give you the 5 most important OTA interview questions that comes from everything we have just covered. 1. What is AB partitioning and why it is used in OTA automotive? Answer. 2 flash slot, active and standby. New firmware written to standby while active continues running. Automatic rollback if flash fail. Second one. What UDS service are used during ECU flashing? Answer. 10 for programming session, 27 for security access, 34 for request of download, 36 for transfer data, 37 for transfer exits, and 11 for ECU reset. Third, what precondition must be met before a FOTA update begins? Answer. Battery above threshold, vehicle stationary, ignition on, valid package signature. Fourth, what happens if a power loss happens during flashing? Answer. Bootloader detect incomplete slot B, boots from slot A. Vehicle operational remains and retry for scheduling the OTA update. 5. What is NRC 72 and when it is returned? Answer. General programming failure, returned when CRC validation fails. Memory return error or incompatible package version. If you can answer all these 5 questions correctly and confidently, you will stand out if any automotive OTA interview happens. Both the simulators are completely free at AutoDevPro Tech. The Infotainment OTA simulator for the user experience level and the FOTA simulator for the ECU flash layer. Together, they cover the complete OTA picture. We also have 45 OTA interview questions at different difficulty levels in the Learning Hub. Fresher, mid-level and senior. All are free. Link is in the description. If these tools are helpful and you are finding this video as a useful one, please do consider subscribing our channel. We release new tools each and every week. Thanks for watching. Take care.